right. All right. So, hey. All right, I see some people coming in and joining. Y'all, this is the first time I've ever done a IG live, so if anything goes wrong, just, lift me up, okay? All right, so I put a poll on my IG story to ask what you are most important about hearing from me this month, because I'll be going live every Wednesday about different topics about the soul. So I see a couple people in here. My mom is in here. Hey, mom. My brother is in here. Hey, Jada. I see a lot of you coming in. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I hope that today you get some understanding and that you really can define the soul after this IG live. So I put together just a little bit of information for you to give you a foundational understanding of what the soul is. Hey, Trisha. Hey, Jada. What the soul is and what is soul health. Okay, so I know there's a lot of information going around right now just about, mental health, emotional health, soul health, and all those different things, and just how to maintain, how to achieve, how to get there, what is it? And so I've gotten a lot of questions because I call myself the soul physician. What type of work do I actually do? So what is the soul physician? What is the soul, and how can you help me? So today I'm hoping to be able to kind of clarify some of that information and to give you some more in-depth knowledge about the soul. All right, so I'm going to make this as simple and practical as possible for you so that you can learn and you can get a good grasp on the information. Hello, everybody coming in. Hey. I'm trying to start off slow so I can get as many people on here as possible. I see y'all lovely faces. And one of the things that I do when I go live, I'm a Facebook Live type of person. So this IG Live thing is completely new to me. So hopefully I don't even go over the time limit. I don't even know what that is, y'all. But I love when people talk back to me. So as I am teaching, as I am giving you some information, as I am speaking on this topic, please talk back to me. Give me some comments. Give me some hearts. That helps me to know that you are enjoying the information, that you are registering with the information, and that it is helpful to you. All right, so talk back to me. Let's have a good Wednesday afternoon together. And if you have questions, you need me to clarify anything, put that in the comments as well. All right, so what is soul health? So first and foremost, what I want to say in regards to soul health is that we are not talking about perfection. Okay, when we talk about soul health or any type of health, we are not talking about, hey, Sade, we are not talking about perfection. Girl, I got me some new frames. We are not talking about perfection at all, okay? So when it comes to the soul, I am not looking for anyone to be perfect, okay? When it comes to mental health, emotional health, physical health, we are not looking for perfection. All right. That is one thing I want you to cross off your list. So sometimes people think because I'm not perfect in certain areas or I get things wrong, that means that I'm not healthy in my soul. I'm not healthy in my mental and emotional health. It does not necessarily mean that. What it does mean is that you have areas in which you can work on. And that's in anything in life. Okay. So I want to give you a little bit of information first off about what the soul is. All right. So work with me here. Okay. So the soul is who you are. The soul is who you are. You are a soul, okay? So the soul is who you are. The soul carries the history of your life, okay? So when you think about the soul, you have to think about the history of your life from the time that you were born up until however old you are now, 20, 30, 40, 50, and beyond. That history of everything that has happened to you from childhood, from when you were a youth, from when you were a teenager, young adult, all the way into adult, all of that is carried, okay, and stitched into your soul's history, all right? So everything that you've experienced, no matter if it was rejection, if it was abandonment, if you've gone through abuse, if you've experienced some type of, hurt, betrayal, trauma, all of that is going to be embedded. It is going to be stitched inside of your soul. So your soul carries the history of your life. So anything that happened to you, y'all, so it doesn't matter. It could be the smallest thing. The soul is going to carry good memories, is going to carry bad memories, is going to carry happy memories, is going to carry sad memories, is going to carry the history of who you are because it is who you are. The soul is you. So you have to think about your entire person, all right? Your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your personhood. That is the soul. So when I work with people, I try to give them an understanding that, I've heard my students say as well that I had no idea that what happened to me in childhood determines who I am today. And that's something that people don't truly realize, is that what happened to you then is the reason why you are who you are today. So when we talk about soul health, you have to talk about the things that you have not talked about. Okay, so things that are hidden, things that are maybe considered secrets, things that you may be ashamed of, things that you may feel guilty about, things that you may not be willing to open up to people about, things that you try to protect people. So, I know, we go through a lot of things in our lives. Everybody has their own story. But when you think about things like molestation, when you think about things like rape, when you think about things like physical abuse in the home, whether that was from a father or a mother. When you think about those different things, sometimes people try to protect family members. You'll try to protect your caregivers. You'll try to protect those that you love. But if you don't willingly deal with those issues, that is impacting and hindering your soul health. Okay. So just like things that you may have not, you may be a Christian now, you may be transformed, you may be, living a different life than you lived when you were a teenager and all those different things. And you may, may want to sweep that underneath the rug. Maybe you were a smoker, a drinker, or whatever. Maybe you were a person that did some things that you were not proud of. You want to sweep that underneath the rug and not deal with it. But if you do not deal with that, that history is still within the soul. And so that impacts your ability to truly have soul health. Okay. So we have to deal with the trajectory of our lives. We have to deal with the journey of our lives. And sorry, y'all, my nose is a little bit runny, so it's a little cold in my house. So but you have to deal with the trajectory of your life. You have to deal with the entire parts of your life, not just some parts that are more comfortable. You have to deal with even the hard parts, things that may not necessarily bring comfort to you when you look in the mirror and you face them. So if you are currently an adult and you feel as if, I'm dealing with a lot of rejection still, there's a lot of unforgiveness or lack of forgiveness that's in my heart towards those that may have hurt me, betrayed me, misused me, overlooked me, maybe you have mistrust issues. Maybe you're not, willing to open your heart to love people. Maybe you're having a difficult time even relating to people. All of that, if you have those types of issues, more than likely there is something that happened in the past that is resulting in your outlook on life now. Okay, so your outlook on life now is determined by what you've gone through throughout the history of your life. This making sense to everybody? I just want to make sure that we're on the same page and that you're clear on what I mean by the soul. Okay. So your personhood, the fullness of who you are, yourself in its entirety, okay? Everything about you, that is the soul. So we cannot just remove our mental capacity and keep the emotions. You cannot just remove, what I'm feeling and not include the history of your life. It is everything in its entirety, what you've gone through, what you've experienced, what you've encountered, what you've seen, what you've just, journeyed throughout your life. And so it's everything. And then on top of that, you have to deal with also the history of those that came before you. So you have to think about the history that you were born into. You were born into a story, okay? So your mother and your father have a story. They have a history in which they were born into as well. And so things are just passed down from one generation of, your parents to your generation to when you have children. You are passing down history. You are passing down thought processes. You are passing down morals and values. You are passing down, how to respond to certain things. You learn things in your environment. So your household, you learn things, how you see your parents respond to things, your caregivers, you learn that type of stuff. And that is also embedded and stitched in your soul. So you begin to respond how your mother or your father will respond. You begin to see life in which you've seen others in your household seen how they saw life as well. And so it is the gambit of your history, not just your own, but the history that in which you were also born into. So a lot of times you'll see kids, right? If you have children, or if you know someone that has children, or if you have, a brother, sister, or whatnot, you'll see children and you'll say, they're doing the exact same thing that I used to do. And you wonder, how the heck did they do that? Because they were nowhere near born, right? As a 3-year-old, they didn't see me as a 3-year-old. So why are they doing the exact same things that I did at 3 years old? Because they were born born into your history. And so some of those traits, even, it's the craziest thing, can be passed down through the generations of who you were born into. And so that's a way to look at it to make it make a little bit more sense. Okay. So when you think about the soul, you cannot just think about you. You have to think about the history in which you were born into as well. So you're not just doing soul work to work through your history. You're also doing soul work to work through the history in which you were born into. Your mother and your father's response to you has a big, big impact on how you view life and also how you're going to go through life. And so you have to deal with all of it, not just a little bit of it here, a little bit of it there. You want to deal with the full story. All right. How y'all feeling so far? I'm so used to Facebook Live. I got to get used to how these comments come on the screen. So we have to make sure with the soul that we're not leaving anything out. All right. So the soul embodies the psychology of your life. Okay. The soul embodies the psychology of your life. All right. So when you think about the psychology of your life, you're thinking about the science of, your mental health and your behaviors. Okay. And so when you're thinking about psychology, it's basically the study of your life. It's the science of your life. It's what's, your behaviors, your responses to just different things that you've experienced in life, or your decision making, all of that. All right. So it's how your mind functions. Okay. So it's the mind and how it functions. It's also your behavior. Okay. So the soul embodies the psychology of your life. So your mind and how it functions, as well as your behavior. So when we think about your behavior, we're thinking about your responses. We're thinking about your decisions. We're thinking about your character. We're thinking about your attitude. We're thinking about mental and emotional factors that determine your relationships. Okay. All of this is in the soul, the psychology of it. Okay. So the soul embodies the psychology of your life. So when you think about, why do I respond the way that I respond? Why do I make the decisions that I make? Why do certain things impact me and affect me the way that it does? Why do I have the relationships that I have? All of this is determined by your soul health. And I teach my students this all the time in the group soul clinic program that I have, the first cohort that I did. I let them know that everything that's going on in your mind, your thoughts, what you meditate on, the things that keep popping up in your brain, the things that worry you, the things that bring fear to you, the things that, make you feel anxious, the things that may trigger, you to go into some type of isolation. All of that has to do with the soul, and it's the history of what happened to you. So, I can give the example of something. I'll give this example. For example, say you grew up in a household, okay, and you had a mother and a father in the household. Your mother was extremely timid. She didn't say much. She just let your father do the talking. And you begin to witness abuse. Okay. So your father was the alpha male, very much so abusive, did not let women talk, did not let women have much of a say so. And so you've seen abuse, physical abuse in your family from the time you were small all the way through, your life until you moved out. Okay. And so number one, that's going to result in some type of trauma. I'm pretty sure that whoever's experienced that type of situation is going to have some type of trauma. And so when we go through certain things in our soul and we go through certain just situations in life, we usually have two responses. Okay. And this is just hypothetical, responses. It's hypothetical. This is not necessarily determined, but you're more than likely you're going to respond two ways. You're going to go on either side of the spectrum. Okay. So you're either going to turn out and be just like your mother, where you're very timid. You don't speak up. You don't let, you end up in abusive situations and, things, you just continue to see a pattern of behavior. Or you're going to end up on the opposite side of the spectrum, and you're going to become angry, and you're going to become not the victim, but the abuser. Okay. And so that's the same thing that happens a lot of times when it becomes to molestation. In households, a lot of times those that were molested become the abuser. They become the one that molests the people or whatever in the future. They become the not the victim anymore, but the person that is now the abuser. And I don't know why the word is slipping my mind right now, but anywho, and so that happens, that history happens. So if you go through a situation like that, you're going to end up on either side of the spectrum. Either you're going to have repeat behavior of what you've seen and what you witnessed, or you've made some inner vows and you've become very angry about the situation. And now you become the person that's the offender. Okay. That's the word I'm looking for. The offender. You become the offender. Okay. In the situation. So maybe you are the abuser that's giving the physical physical abuse. Even as a woman, that can happen. You can be very abusive as women, whether that's physically, you can also be verbally and emotionally abusive. So, that results and transforms and begins to configure itself into a way that you respond to it. So you may have seen it one way, but you may not necessarily respond to it the same way. Okay. So just because you've seen physical abuse doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to do the exact same thing as the offender. You may take that and it configures inside of you, and now you become the offender, but you are emotionally abusive, or you are verbally abusive, not necessarily physically abusive, but you still have an outcome of some type of abuse. All right. And so those things happen. And so we have to be intentional about why is this happening to me? Why am I the way that I am? Why is this resulting in this type of response or this type of behavior? And all of that is found in the soul. I'll give you another example. Let's say that you are a person that has dealt strongly or heavily with rejection. Throughout your entire life, you've always been rejected. People didn't accept you. Your family didn't accept you. Maybe you were bullied a lot through high school, through elementary school. Maybe even as an adult, you were bullied or overlooked or just never accepted or felt like you belonged. Okay, so today, who you are today, more than likely when you get in situations, if you have not dealt with that soul issue, more than likely when you get in certain situations, you know what your first outlook and your first thought is going to be? I'm rejected. So you're automatically going to enter into situations thinking that you don't belong. You're automatically going to enter into situations thinking that people don't like you. You're automatically going to enter into situations with a guard up, saying that I'm not going to be accepted here anyway, so why should I be myself? Why should I give myself? Why should I try and, be a part or any of those things? And so we begin to see our lives through what happened to us, okay? One thing that is so common is that people begin to think that what happened to them is who they are. That is so common. So what I mean by that is you could have been rejected and gone through a lot of rejection in your life, but that doesn't mean that you are a rejected person. Okay, what we have the tendency to do as human beings and as flawed people is that we allow things to happen to us, and we think that means that's who we are. So instead of saying I was rejected, you start to think and believe I am rejected. So instead of saying I was abandoned, you start to think and believe I am abandoned. Instead of thinking, I deal with X, Y, and Z, you start to take on those titles and you begin to say that this is who I am. I tell my clients as well, if you have been diagnosed with some type of like anxiety or depression or some type of disorder, PTSD, anything like that, I understand being diagnosed with something. There's different things that happen in life that produces, anxiety, that produces depression, that produces trauma, that produces PTSD, that produces, just tendencies, being bipolar, all these different things. There's things that happen in our life that produce those things. I cannot say that is not the truth. That is absolutely true. But you do not have to own and accept that that's who you are. The only thing that you have to own and accept, and this is the true thing, is that your identity is found in Christ. Okay, that's the only thing that you need to own and accept. All right, anything outside of that is just a diagnosis. Okay, it's treatable. Let me tell you again, it's a diagnosis that is treatable, okay? So as a soul physician, I may give you a diagnosis and say, you know what, you are dealing with, rejection, abandonment. As a coach and as a counselor, I may tell you some things that may have happened as I'm talking to you, I may tell you this is what happened to you in your childhood from talking to you, and I can see why it's resulted in X, Y, and Z. I can tell you why your anxiety is your anxiety. I can tell you why you're dealing with depression. I can give you that diagnosis, but through my coaching programs, I give you an outline of what to do, actionable steps to help cure what you're experiencing. Okay, anytime you work with me, I'm going to tell you, no matter what the doctor has said. Now, I'm not going to tell you to stop taking your medicine. That's something you need to keep taking. Okay, if that's something that the doctor has given you, you want to continue to take your medicine. Okay, but I am going to tell you that what you're going through, you have an answer. Okay, there is a cure to help you be able to overcome some of these issues. We do not have to sit with our pain. We do not have to sit with our shame. We do not have to sit with our trauma and think it's the end all be all. This is not the end all be all. You have a way out. It's just doing the work necessary to help you overcome some of the issues that you are dealing with. Okay, so you do have a way out. And so I kind of went off track a little bit, but that in itself really gives you an understanding of what the soul is. All right, so then we have to think about, if we know what the soul is, and we know that the soul carries our history, and we know that the soul has a memory of everything we've encountered in our life, and we know that the soul is going to remember these things. It's going to have good, bad, happy, sad memories. Then what is soul health? If I know that I've gone through a lot in my life, and I know that I've experienced a lot, and I know that I'm dealing with a lot, and has resulted in, currently I'm feeling alone, I'm feeling isolated, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling abandoned, I'm feeling, mentally and emotionally, I'm up and down every single day. I'm feeling like I just can't go another day. I'm exhausted. I'm overwhelmed with, feelings of anxiety, and I'm overwhelmed, not wanting to get out of bed. I'm having crying spells, all these different things that happen when we don't properly care for our souls, and we don't properly care for what's our internal person, our internal being, our personhood, which is ultimately ourselves. When we don't do that, it's going to result into some unhealthy results. Okay, you're going to see it in your responses. You're going to see it in your thought life. You're going to see it in what comes up in your mind constantly. The types of relationships you have around you is a telltale sign of your soul health. Just different factors you can see. And so before I go too far in that, because I'm actually going to be doing an IG live about how to measure your soul health, I want to tell you what soul health is, okay? And so soul health is the intentional practice of doing the work necessary to become the original intent of who God created you to be, as well as fulfill your potential. Okay? That is soul health. The intentional practice of doing the work necessary to become the original intent of who God created you to be, as well as fulfill your potential. Your potential is the original intent, okay? Your potential is the original intent. All right, so I don't want to get too churchy on here, but I want to make sure that you have a foundational understanding of what I believe. I do believe in science, okay? I absolutely believe in science, but I believe science needs to be paired with biblical standards and values and principles, okay? I don't believe there's any other way to do it to transform a person. You may be able to treat something and get some progress, but if you want full transformation, you have to partner that thing with biblical principles, okay? And so God originally had an intent for all of us, okay? He wrote a book on us before we was born into this earth, and he had an understanding of what we would do, all right? But we are born into a broken history, and because we are born into a broken history, that means who we are is broken. And so we have to continue to work towards getting back to that original intent. And life is going to throw at us year by year, month by month, day by day, different things that are going to, that's working against us. But we have to do the intentional work to overcome those things that are thrown at us day by day, week by week, hour by hour, month by month, year by year. Okay, so we have to be intentional on our pursuit. People, just like, for example, if you work out, you're intentional about working out, whether that's daily, every other day, or 3 days a week. If you eat, you're hungry, you are intentional about eating. You're going to feed yourself, right? And so you have to be intentional about the work. What are you feeding your soul? What kind of food are you putting in your soul? What things are you meditating on? Are you allowing things to rot and not be dealt with? Are you allowing things to just be swept under the rug? Let me tell you this, sweeping things under the rug when you know you have an issue is not helping anybody. It's only going to work against you. Those are more layers you have to pull back to get to the original problem. Okay, the original problem is hidden behind layers and years of things you have not worked on. And not to scare you, or not to tell you it's impossible, to get to that problem, that original problem of what happened. It is very well possible, but it takes intention. It takes you being intentional about doing the work. And a lot of times we can get overwhelmed and think, oh my God, I have so much stuff to work through. I don't know how I'm ever going to get to the original problem of what happened, where it started, and how it spread it. I'm never going to get to that original thing. And that's just simply not true. You just have to do the work. It's going to hurt. You're going to cry. There's going to be some hard truths you're going to have to encounter. You're going to have to look at yourself in the face, in the mirror, and say, you know what? You made a bad decision. You know what? The result of where you are in life right now is because of you. You're going to have those hard talks in the mirror with yourself, but it doesn't mean you can't overcome it. We've all made bad decisions. We've all done things we're not proud of. We've all had history and things that happened to us that were just out of our hands, and things that we cannot say that we necessarily wanted to happen to us. But here's the thing. You now have control. You now have control of what happens next. Okay? You now have control of what happens next in your life. You can continue to live your life in an unhealthy manner. You can continue to live your life, feeling overwhelmed, anxious, waking up every day feeling as if, what kind of life is this? You can continue to, go to work every day and feel as if you have so much more potential than what's being offered at your job. You can continue to work through, go and speak to your mother, your daddy, your sister, your brother, your cousin, as if all things are normal when you know you're hurting inside. You can continue to allow, people to cross boundaries. You can continue to allow people to hurt you, control you, manipulate you. You can continue to allow betrayal, to happen to people that you know are no good and shouldn't be in your lives. Or you can make a decision to do the work necessary to heal, to do the work necessary to pull back the layers to the original problem, and you can do the work necessary to work towards becoming the original intent of who God called you to be and who he said that you are. There is a better life outside of where you are currently. It is all dependent on what decisions you make. And like I said, I work with clients. I have a group coaching program right now called the Group Soul Clinic that's currently enrolling. And this last cohort, I've helped them process through all this as well. I've helped them understand this type of situation, this information and how to navigate and maneuver through it. Okay. And so I am hoping that for you, you also are going to do the work necessary. So, when it comes to soul health, you have to unbecome what happened to you. Okay, you have to unbecome what happened through the trajectory of your life. You have to unbecome your broken history. Okay, and you have to work towards becoming the original intent. The only way to become is to unbecome. Okay, so the only way to become is to unbecome a certain way. You have to now work to become a different way. All right, so that is the key to soul health, and that is what soul health is. Okay, so I hope this helped you tremendously. If you feel like you want to be a part of my program, the Group Soul Clinic, it is currently enrolling. You can click the link in the bio to learn more about it as well. I would love to partner with you and to help you on this journey. I know it's not an easy one. I myself have gone through this journey, and so I don't teach anybody anything I haven't actually myself gone through. Okay, so I'm out here teaching you stuff that I've worked through myself, and so I hope that was helpful. Any questions really quickly before I get off? I just want to make sure. That's what I got. And so while I wait to see if there's any questions, I want to tell you, and I'll take a few questions, that next week on Wednesday, you can catch me as well. I'm going to be talking about 2 reasons why you haven't obtained soul health. All right. So every Wednesday in the month of August, you can catch me on here talking about soul health, talking about, the soul and how to get healthy and how to get yourself together, y'all. So I can help you in the way that you need. All right. So that's next week, 2 reasons why you haven't obtained soul health. All right. All right. Let's see what we got here. How do you let go of the residue of unforgiveness? Unforgiveness is a decision, okay? So the residue now is working through it. So you have to work through the pain. You have to work through the hurt. You have to work through maybe it was a betrayal, or if you felt, rejected or abandoned, you have to work through whatever happened to you. And so that's intentional work as well. And so anytime you're dealing with the heart and you're dealing with trying to forgive, I always encourage people to go to counseling. I think that it's always important to have a second voice to make sense of what you're feeling and what you're thinking. We can often think that things are normal that's not normal. And so until you have a person that comes in and says, hey, that's not actually normal, that's not normal behavior at all, how about you think about this? How about you think about that? And so I would definitely go and get counseling about dealing with the residue, because the residue is the issue. Sometimes we can forgive, but the residue of it can cause us not to trust people. The residue of it can cause us to be very skeptical of why people enter our lives. We can become so cold-hearted that we don't love, we don't feel, we don't accept. And so we have to be intentional about doing the work to heal and to making sure that we forgive. And so I would definitely start journaling as well. That's something I always tell people. Journaling is extremely beneficial, and it's a way to really cleanse the soul. Okay, it's a way to really cleanse the soul. All right. Any other questions before we get off really quickly? I want to make sure that I get to those that may have a question. So I hope that was helpful. I see you ladies on here that you really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for rocking with me on this Wednesday. I wanted to spend at least 30 minutes with you all to give you as much information and insight that you needed with the soul. So next time I have questions about, what is the soul? What do you do? I hope that this clarifies that. And I also hope that you can really join the group Soul Clinic. I would love to partner with you again. That's one thing that I really enjoy, working with a group of women one-on-one to really help you walk through and process through your life history. And so if you feel like that's something that you want to do, or you feel like that's something that you want to partake in, like I said, the link is in the bio. The glasses, please listen, y'all like my glasses. And so I got these from, okay, so I'm probably going to say it wrong, so I'm going to spell it for you. ZEELOOL. I think, I'm sure y'all seen those little promos that they've done, but they actually have good quality glasses. I've ordered 2 so far from them, and it took a little longer because of the whole COVID situation, but their glasses are quality. I say, wait a minute, and they're not super expensive, and they send you coupons. They send you coupons, y'all. After you buy their products, they're like, here's another coupon, of course, to make you buy another pair. But I'm very pleased with my glasses. Okay, so that's where I got them from. And so yes, all right, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up on this Wednesday. I truly hope that you enjoy rocking with me. Please share this with your audiences. I want to impact as many people as possible when it comes to soul health. That is my mission. That is my purpose. That is something I am so passionate about. And so I actually liked rocking with y'all on IG. I might just switch over from Facebook to IG, y'all. I mean, I might just do it. This is kind of getting comfortable here. So, yes, please share this with your audiences. Please tag me in it. I love seeing just the love on IG. I love to reshare just things that I'm tagged in as well. So, love y'all. I hope that y'all enjoy your Wednesday, and catch me back here next Wednesday as I talk about 2 reasons why you haven't obtained soul health. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.